the light-skinned guy who had just dapped us up on the way up here to Osborne High School jumps in the fight, bro. Bro, when he did that, everything erupted. You know everybody, you know my whole family.
The whole team.
Yeah.
100.
100.
Double salute. Wildlife 100.
Wildlife 100.
I've been in the trap every day, I don't get much sleep.
Wildlife 100.
Something so real, so real, you can feel it in your knees. I need something like you, do you need someone like me?
What's moving, everybody? Hey, man, you already know what's going on. Today, I got another crazy story for y'all. This time, I got The Day I Became the Plug, Part 9. Y'all dropped Trap 9 in the comments on my previous video, so, hey, listen, I'm just here to deliver. But to give y'all a little synopsis on the last video, on Trap Part 8, we talked about how, you know, I'm out here trapping. I'm out here in Cobb, I'm trapping. And I'm doing my thing, and Chop ends up coming to come stay with us. Now, I don't know if y'all got one of them friends or one of them brothers, one of them cousins, one of them anything, but when y'all get together, a lot of stuff just start happening. You know, like this person just so happens to be the key to a lot of the excitement that goes on in your life. Chop has always been that type of person for me, right? So when Chop came to stay with me, he soon got in some mess. You feel me? Like I'm doing my trap thing. I done already found my for lifers, you know, Bam, Justin, Brittany, a couple other people, but you know, those are the main people that I'm hanging with every single day. Chop, he ended up coming around and just really seeing what's going on. He ends up getting into a fight with somebody that stayed in the area that used to come to Crescent Square all the time. Because remember, I told y'all Crescent Square was one of those complexes that everybody just used to like to come to. You know, it was just like the hood in the hood. You feel me? Like it was just one of them complexes. So he ended up getting into it with a guy named Noopy because Noopy said something foul to my sister about him. Now, for those of y'all who haven't been watching the other series, My Best Friend Sent Me to Jail for the Unthinkable, we broke down in the last episode. We just did the finale a couple days ago to end off that series. So if you have been watching that series, then now come to this series because everything is about to link in. You know, on that series, I had just got out of jail. I had just started my life, and I had just got back into trapping. You feel me? And we're going to run into that soon. So if y'all been following that series, then y'all already know Chop is not my biological brother. We just move like that, you know. Chop just so happens to be my sister's baby daddy, right? And my niece is his dad, and my biological sister is my niece's mother. You feel me? So that what going on. So a guy named Noopy in the complex basically had a crush on my sister, and Chop didn't like that. He ain't like nobody necessarily having a crush on my sister, especially if you telling my sister stuff like, oh, I ain't scared of your baby daddy or your boyfriend, because that wasn't her baby daddy at the time. But I'm not scared of your boyfriend or anything like that, you know. Plus, we all came up together. So we in a new space. Ain't none of us ever really stayed in Cobb before. So it's like us against everybody, you know, besides my for lifers, you know, Bam, Justin, and Brittany. It was all of us against everybody for the most part, you know. So he might have said something slick to my sister. I don't know if my sister ended up telling Chop or somebody that was around him ended up telling Chop. So they got into it. Now, if y'all watch part 8, then y'all already know what happened. They went to the back of the complex. Well, Chop, we all went around to go look for him. Chop ended up finding him on somebody else's patio. He called him downstairs and challenged him to a fight. When he challenged him to a fight, Noopy said, let's do it. That was one of the worst mistakes he probably made in his life because Chop literally had a highlight moment in that situation off of him. You feel me? If y'all watch Trap 8, then y'all already know Chop beat him so bad, he made him defecate and pee on himself. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to carry that man from the location to somebody's car and get that man to the hospital or to home or somewhere. I don't know where he went after that, you know, but I literally had to get Chop up off that man because I didn't know if he was going to unalive him. You feel me? It was really that bad. Fast forward, now it's like, all right, it's looking like we're a crew to be reckoned with. You know, it's me, Chop, Bam, Justin, Brittany, you know, because Bam, and remember, I met Justin like my second day of school, right? and his brothers and sisters just so happened to be Bam and Brittany. You know, they rocked with each other like me, Chop, and my sister rocked with each other. So it just when we all came together, it just kind of connected. So we was the crew. It was a couple of other people, you know, but they didn't just necessarily last like they lasted. Feel me? Shout out to my boy Dre though, DeAndre. You know what I mean? He always been somebody that I rock with. He was in the crew. He always been somebody that I rock with. But you know, he just he just be everywhere. Food just be everywhere on everything. Matter of fact, this DeAndre, that's the same guy that when we was in the trap, he shot the gun, bro, and shot through the floor. You feel me? Reason why we had to leave the trap that day and all. You know, but fast forward, right? We got our crew. So now it's looking like, you know, we the new kids on the block. You feel me? Like this is a complex that everybody used to come to, everybody wanted to be at, you know. So now it's looking like almost you gotta check in with us. You feel me? Cause remember I told y'all when in certain situations, if you wasn't buying from me, we was gonna get on you. You know, like if you wasn't buying no tree from me, we was gonna get on you. So it's like if you come into the complex for that, you gotta come see us. If you come into the complex for the women, you gotta come see us. Cause really we was cool with all the girls and all that like that. Like it just became our complex, right? So fast forward, I meet a couple other guys, and this just so happened to be Noopy's real cousins, right? They was cool, but I'm not necessarily sure if they was cool because they was nervous about how we were or how aggressive we were to an extent, or maybe even how aggressive Chop was. But we ended up getting cool, and you know we kind of let that Noopy stuff be bygones, cause it's like, all right, them two men fighting. You know, Shouter came out his mouth. Chop wanted to see about that. He agreed. You know, nobody took nothing. You know, it was a fair fight. So his cousins just felt like, all right, we can be cool or whatever like that. So one of their cousins named Corey, we ended up getting kind of cool. We ended up getting kind of cool, but Corey had like a temper issue. Like they stayed behind the complex, behind Crescent Square, in like some houses or something. It was him and his whole family. They stayed in like some houses, like his cousins, his aunties, his mama, all them. They like stayed in the same house or two houses right next to each other or something like that. So he came to me one day, and short, stocky guy. I think he was like my age, maybe a year younger or something like that. Short, stocky guy. He used to work out all the time. He boxed, stuff like that. He came to me one day and he seen what I had going on, and he told me straight up. He was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get in the game. Like, what's up? What you got for me?" So I'm like, "Look, this is what I could do for you. I might have. I don't know. I don't even think I gave him that much. It might have been like a half ounce or something like that. I gave him a half ounce, and I'm like, look, just bring me back this. You feel me? And mind you, I'm getting my tree from the north side of Atlanta. Sandy Springs, Roswell. The good stuff. I'm getting on the CCT on the bus every week or every other week, going to the city, coming back and with it. You get what I'm saying? So I pretty much had the best stuff in the city, or the best stuff in that complex for the most part. Because Marietta wasn't really. I didn't know nobody who just really had it like that. You feel me? Not back then. So he came to me. I fronted him a 14, and everything was good, fool. Everything was good. I continued about my little life. Trapping. We kicking it around the complex. Me, Bam, Brittany, Chop, everybody kicking it around the complex and chilling. And one day, he comes back from he was at some after school program at Osborne High School. We all went to Osborne High School. Osborne was literally walking distance from Crescent Square Apartments. So he comes back one day from Osborne High School, and he just frantic. He's more so mad than frantic, because he was never really one of them guys that just was scary, but he was more so, he was just wired. You feel me? So he come back to the complex, and he knock on my door, and he telling me like, and mind you, it just so happened to be everybody was at my house at the time. This was a school day. He used to do stuff after school. I don't know if he ran track or played football or whatever the case like that. But we wasn't doing nothing after school. When school over with, everybody meet at my house. You know what I'm saying? we finna figure out what the day is finna bring us outside of school. You know, we finna really live, you know? So everybody used to be at my house. And remember I told y'all my grandma, she was staying there at the time. My grandma, she didn't even really care for me that much, but for some reason she just so happened to love Bam, Justin, and Brittany. Like anytime they came over, they got better treatment than me. You know, everything, you feel me? But like I told y'all, she was kind of lethargic back then. So she used to sleep on the couch in the living room, which was kind of crazy because she has family in Noonan that has a whole bunch of properties. Like we all have family in Noonan that has a whole bunch of properties. You know, it's just, bro, I don't know. It's one of them stingy type things. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't want to keep her out there for whatever reason. You know, I guess they didn't want to take care of her or whatever. You know, I don't know. Even still to this day, fool. Like I know we got properties in Noonan. They say we got like 10, 15 properties out there, but it's a couple family members that just ain't trying to let up off of that. You know what I mean? So they left my grandma at my mama house, on the couch, fool. But that's a whole nother story, you know. And we gonna talk more about that as the story dwindles down, or as we get closer to that point in time. But Bam, Justin, and Brittany used to come to the house. My grandma used to love them, so it was all good every time they came to the house. We'll be in the house doing whatever, kicking it, you know, just doing whatever, you know, being kids or whatever, you know. So I was catching my plays. The fact that Bam, Justin, and Brittany was there, it didn't make it seem like it was so much traffic when plays did come knock on the door or whatever the case like that, you know, because we was already in and out the door all the time. So we kicking it at the house. Corey ends up pulling up. He frantic. He telling us, hey, somebody ran off with my stuff, you know? And I'm like, what you mean? He like, bro, everything that you gave me, bro, they ran off with it. Mind you, he sold a little bit, you know, but the majority of it, this man ended up taking it to school for football practice or something like that. Whatever practice he had going on. I guess he was showing it to people at the beginning of the day or whatever, so folks knew he had it, and he put it back in his book bag and put it in his locker, or he ducked it off somewhere in the locker room. So I guess whoever he showed earlier that day done double back on him and swiped him. You feel me? Or at least that's what he telling me. So I'm like, oh, all right, for sure. You know who did it? He was like, nah, I don't know who did it, but I think I know who did it. So I'm like, all right, bet. And then he just so happened to leave early when he found out. So whatever event or whatever practice that was going on out there was still going on. So I'm like, all right, cool. Everybody, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And it probably wasn't even me that said let's do it. That's how dope, you know, our friend group was, because it was like we always was on the same page. It might have been Bam that said, all right, let's go up there and see what's going on. Now, mind you, back then, Bam was like 10, 11 years old, bro. 5th grade. He was in 5th grade hanging with some 9th, 10th graders. But he was always big. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. He was always big, bro. I remember Bam, he wanted to hang with us so bad at one point. And, you know, his brother didn't really care for him to hang around us because he was so young. And I remember one day we came up with a plan. We said, hey, if you go pop it off on this random person, then you can hang with us from now on. Bro, that man went over there, popped it off. And we followed behind him. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, we followed behind him because he only 10, 11 years old. He might have just hit 11, you feel me? But he was so big, you know, he just didn't look like no 11-year-old. He went out there, popped it off, and we followed behind him, and cuz had been with us ever since. So now, Corey telling us all this, we done made the decision to go up to the school. So now we trucking it to the school. Remember I told y'all, Crescent Square is very close to Osborne. So maybe like a mile. We might have walked like a mile to get to Osborne. We trucking it. Now, halfway there, we see some guys coming our way, right? And the guys, I don't remember their name. It was a light-skinned guy and it was a brown-skinned guy, right? The light-skinned guy, everybody just so happened to be cool with. So as he's walking towards us, we're walking towards Osborne. So he's coming this way, we coming this way. So as we met, he like, hey, what's up? What y'all got going on? You know, that buddy just greeting us. And we like, yeah, ain't nothing going on, bro. We finna go up there to Osborne real quick. My boy just got his stuff stolen, so we finna go see about that. So his face changed a little bit. I didn't notice it at the time. Well, I kind of noticed it at the time, but I ain't really just think too deep into it. So he like, oh, for real? Dang, what happened? Like, what was it? This, that. He just asking all these questions and all. So we giving them the answers. We not thinking too much of it. So everybody shouted them up, and they went their way. We went our way. So we get to the school. We finally get to the school, bro, and we go to the football field. When we go to the football field, we basically asking for certain people because Cuz saying, yeah, he only showed them to a couple people. So we like, all right, we need to see if shouted them still up here. So we get to asking for certain people, and one of the guys who he named ended up presenting himself. Like, he came out the woodwork somewhere. I guess word got around that we was looking for him at the school. Mind you, this after school, so it ain't too many teachers here. It's a couple janitors. You know, it's just students. You feel me? And students that's getting picked up. And mind you, most of the students done already got picked up because by the time we done got out here, it was the end of the day. It was the end of practice or whatever they had going on. So one guy like, yeah, y'all looking for me? So he ended up presenting himself as we're leaving. So to get to the football field, you gotta go through the courtyard of the school. Now, through the courtyard of the school, it's like the football field is right here, the lunchroom is right here, the school is in front, you know, all that, and the courtyard is like right here in the middle. So the courtyard is literally in the middle of everything. It's right in the middle of everything. So we walking through the courtyard, and Buddy come out of nowhere with like the same guys that we dapped it up with when we was on the way up here. So he like, yeah, I heard y'all was looking for me. We like, yeah, what's up, bro? Shouty stuff got took, and that wasn't his. So what's up with that? Like, we need that back, you know? And Buddy was like, I think he bucked. I don't even remember if he admitted to it or if he didn't admit to it, but he was just like, well, we just gonna have to fade then, or something like that, or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, Cuz was ready to just pop it off just right then and there. Mind you, he with two other people. It's me, Bam, Justin, Brittany. I don't think Chop was there, but DeAndre was there, right? So DeAndre, first thing he did was take off his book bag. He like, all right, I'll get one with you. You feel me? So DeAndre took his book bag. I remember I'll never forget it, fool. He had a SpongeBob book bag. That's when that junk used to be cool, I guess. You know, with Crank That Yank and all that stuff was coming out, Soldier Boy and all that, right? So he took his book bag off. And when he took his book bag off, he stepped up to the plate, right? Mind you, we're in the middle of the courtyard, bro. Anybody that look out the window, look from the football court, peek outside the lunchroom can see what we got going on. It's a full circumference of what we got going on. You feel me? We in the middle of everything. So DeAndre takes off his book bag and he run up on Shouty. When he run up on Shouty, DeAndre, that's my dog, fool. But he always been known to be like a funny fighter. You feel me? Like, cuz ran up. He might have popped him a couple times, then swung another time and spun around and dropped. It was something funny like that. You feel me? But thank goodness Buddy couldn't get up on him. You feel me? Like, DeAndre was able to get up and they going at it. You feel me? Now, in the midst of them going at it, the light-skinned guy who had just dapped us up on the way up here to Osborne High School jumps in the fight, bro. He jumps in the fight and tries to hit DeAndre. I don't even think he ended up hitting him. Bro, when he did that, everything erupted. Straight up, everything erupted. When he tried to hit DeAndre, everybody on my side ran in, and the two other people on his side ran in. So now it's an all-out brawl, cuz. Straight up. And it was so bad, bro. It was so abrupt, and it was so just out of nowhere. I didn't even know where to get in at. I ain't gonna lie to you, cuz. That's the only time in my life where I've ever been in that situation. That had to be the one time in my life where I was so shocked I didn't know how to get in. You feel me? Because when I'm telling you, as soon as the light-skinned guy that just dapped us up, and that's what messed us up too, because I'm like, damn, he just dapped us up, fool. Like, what's really going on? Like, y'all folks ain't playing fair out here. You know what I'm saying? But we is in Marietta. We in Cobb, fool. Like, it's different rules out here. It's different playing field. It's different everything, you know? But this junk just really caught me off guard because now we in the middle of the school, bro, having an all-out brawl. You know, it's like 10 of us at this point. You know, of course, we kind of overpowering them, you know, so they didn't necessarily need my help, but it was still like, you know, I don't know. I still to this day feel like I should have got in somewhere, but it was like, bro, man, if y'all ever see my folks them fight, fool, like, it's hard. Like, I remember one time we all got into a fight at the club, bro, and it was so wild. You probably wouldn't know how to get in that one either. Like, I'm talking about folks is hitting heavy, like swinging hard. You know what I'm saying? And we fighting security, but we gonna get to that, you know, because we fought security a lot in my career. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So look, they just heavy hitting. You know, they just heavy hitting. But these folks, the folks that we fighting, or they fighting, they wouldn't go down. They wouldn't just necessarily go down. So we might have been fighting, or they might have been fighting for a good 5 minutes or something like that. And the vice principal come outside. Remember, I told y'all the vice principal of this school was supposedly a vice lord, right? So he come out and he started just grabbing folks, you know, like real hands on. You know what I'm saying? Like just real hands on. So he didn't grab any of us. So we ended up shaking off. You know, we ended up dipping from the scene and going back to the complex. And that's just what it was. We ain't get no money back. We ain't get the product back. We ain't get anything back. And I slick believe that when the light-skinned guy, or whatever his name was, when they passed us while we was going there, I think he had it on him. And he ducked it off before he did a run back to the school. Because he came back to the school. You feel me? Like, he turned around and went back to Osborne when he heard what was going on. You feel me? Because how else did you get there? You know what I mean? You popped up, and then you popped up at the right place. So that means you must have called them folks and said, hey, shouted them on the way. You know, I'm finna duck this off, and I'm finna head back up there. I think that's exactly what he did. So we ended up going back to the spot. And mind you, we ain't never had no problems out the light-skinned boy again, you know? They kind of just beat him up, and that's just kind of where it ended. You feel me? But we ended up getting back to the spot, and you know how it be when when you just done did something crazy. You know, everybody dapping each other up. We talking about the event. I'm telling folks, like, listen, I didn't know how to get in. You know what I'm saying? But at that point in time, you know, didn't nobody necessarily question me because we had already done so much. I done already fought with these folks so many times. It was just a shocking moment. Like, it's just, I just didn't know how to get in, you know, so they ain't really hold it against me. But fast forward, the same guy who I ended up fronting, I don't know if he got jealous later or whatever the case, because I wouldn't front him no more. I'm like, nah, fool, like, that was a crazy mistake. You know, you cost me money on top of that. Like, I'm straight on that. You gonna have to come up front. So I don't know if he felt something. Now, mind you, this is also Noopy little cousin, his real little cousin. So I don't know if he felt some type of way. I don't know if he was trying to use me in the first place. I don't know if he set that whole thing up. He kind of changed on me, cuz, and we ended up fighting. But look, we gonna talk about that in the next part, man. Y'all drop Trap 10, man, and we gonna go into that, cuz Buddy started acting funny, fool. And not only did I fight him, but that led us to fighting like 5 more people that next day or something on the way to go fight that man again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy. You feel me? Like, and I had a cast on my hand from fighting the day before, straight up. But we gonna get into all of that, cause it really got gangster. You know, at this point, then Chop had came back, so we was going from, bro, we was headed to go fight these folk, going from complex to complex, getting in fights on the way there, bro. It was like a episode of Dragon Ball Z or Zelda or something. You feel me? Like, it was crazy. But listen, man. Straight up, man, y'all drop Trap 10 in the comments, man, and I'm going to give y'all that. You know what I'm saying? Remember, I told y'all, everybody who's been watching the first series or been watching any of these series, y'all come on over to this side of things, and y'all pay attention to this series, because this series is finna take us from all the way from when I got locked up, getting out, to today. You feel me? This whole trap stuff into today. You know what I mean? And we got a long way to go, but it's not too long, but it's interesting. You feel what I'm saying? So y'all drop trap 10 in the comments, and once again, man, I appreciate everybody who been locked in, liking, sharing, subscribing. Love y'all for life, but until next time, baby. 100.